Hello everyone. So last time we learned how treble clef works. Now you might be thinking, should this treble clef just be enough? Well, unfortunately, if we were to write all pitches on this one clef, we would end up with something like this. So to solve this problem, we have many other clefs, and the one that particularly deals with the lower and deeper notes is what we call a bass clef. A bass clef looks like this, and these two dots are actually part of the symbol. It works roughly the same as the treble clef in that we write notes either on the lines or in the spaces. However, the lines and spaces indicate different pitches. In the treble clef, two spaces above the bottom line is an A above middle C. Here, this is actually a low C. So in other words, a C below middle C. And again, I will put the list of pitches here. If we go up from this low C up to this line, we get a D. And next we get E. Next we get F. Next we get G. And you get the idea. If we go down from this C, we get B, A, G, F, and so on. For some people, it's easier to memorize the spot of one note and just count up or down to find different notes. Or you can memorize the exact pitch each line and space represents on a bass clef. As we discovered earlier, the lines on the bass clef represent these pitches: G, B, D, F, and A. And a common phrase to memorize this is, "Good boys do fine always." And the spaces represent A, C, E, and G. And a good phrase to memorize this is, "All cows eat grass." So far we have covered how to interpret treble and bass clefs. I would like to now talk about something I only discussed very briefly, and that is leisure lines. The purpose of leisure lines is to compensate for all the pitches that cannot be written on the 5-line staff. So these are leisure lines. Let's do a real example with leisure lines. We know that on a treble clef, this is in high E. However, if I keep going higher and want to write an A above this E, I would simply run out of lines. So what I do is, I know that if I start from E, the next note is F, then G, and next is the A I wanted to write. So all we do is simply add a line above the G and write the A. Let's do another example. If I show you this note on a bass clef, you will say this is not on our original 5-line staff. So to determine what this note is, we can first locate the note that is on the staff. Say this one. We discovered earlier that this note is a low G. So if we go down to the space below it, we get an F. If we keep going down, we will get an E. If we keep going down, we get a D. And finally, we get to this note, and it's therefore a C.